This is Gala Avery reporting to you from inside the Video Archive Cinema Club, the 20-seat secret cinema located within the Vista. Today, I am joined by Video Archive Cinema Club manager Matt Landsman to chat about the calendar for the week of Monday, October 28th. Hey, Matt.
Hey Gala, welcome back to the Cinema Club.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here as always. And you know what? Congratulations on an amazing October. I'm like really sad that October is over, but that means that we are one step closer to Christmas.
Well, October is my favorite month personally because I'm a big horror fan. So you know that this orange pumpkin calendar was near and dear to my heart.
I gotta believe it. And you know what? You've got something really special playing on Halloween, but we're gonna get to that in a little bit. First up, though, we have what's playing on Tuesday, the 29th on the 2 p.m. matinee slot. Matt, do you want to introduce it?
On Tuesday, the 29th, we have something really special planned because I believe it is the first ever theatrical public screening of the unrated cut of Nightmare on Elm Street Part 5, The Dream Child.
Okay, yeah. When I saw this, I was like, Matt, why did you pick A Nightmare on Elm Street 5?
I think that a lot of people thought that perhaps, but if you look closely, I actually scanned onto the calendar the little sticker that's printed on the unrated VHS box that says it contains material that's not available in the theatrical cut.
Yeah, let me read this sticker that you have so lovingly placed on the calendar. The full-length uncensored version, exclamation point, contains material not seen in the theatrical release, exclamation point.
So if you want to see really gnarly Freddy violence at 2 p.m. on a
The
Tuesday,
perfect time to see it.
well, then this is for you. But the thing is, this franchise has really, really dedicated fans. And obviously, it's one of the biggest slasher franchises of all time. So, one thing that I really love about the Video Archive Cinema Club experience, and one thing that I've always loved that we can do, is showcase some stuff that only exists on VHS and stuff that you can't see in another medium. So, in the case of this movie, the unrated cut, I thought it was perfect for Halloween for an October season because you can't see it on streaming, you can't see it on Blu-ray. There is no like UHD version of this. It's the tape or the Laserdisc, and that's it. And it's never been released in like a remastered version. So in this case, it was the first public screening of this movie. When I started collecting all my Nightmare on Elm Street VHS tapes, and I thought I had them all, it was actually my friend Cyrus who clued me into the existence of this version.
Shout out Cyrus.
Shout out to Cyrus, who is a big fan of this movie in particular and the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And I'll tell you what is a little different about this version. The motorcycle kill towards the beginning of the movie is much more violent and much more uh, graphic. There's moments of it that were sort of just cut out of the theatrical version in order to attain an R rating. And then later in the movie, one of the most horrific kills in the entire franchise, where Freddy is sort of like stuffing this girl's face as she's in this nightmarish dinner table scene.
I don't like the sound of that.
In the unrated cut, you can see he's actually putting food into her open stomach wound, and he's like filling her up with the food that she's eating, but that part is like edited out of the theatrical cut.
That's pretty nasty. So I guess if you're a fan of this movie and you think you've seen it all, you haven't.
And I know there's some pretty dedicated Freddy fans that will be really excited about this one. This was a fast one to sell out. Obviously, any Nightmare on Elm Street movie is going to sell out, but like I said, I wanted to provide an experience that you can only get here and nowhere else.
As Matt just mentioned, this is sold out. But remember, you guys, there is always a standby line. This one, though, I feel like the people that have bought tickets are probably going to be showing up.
Oh, yeah, there are some pretty big fans out there of this one, but don't be discouraged. Any movie that you want to go to at the Video Archive Cinema Club, if you see it says sold out on the VistaTheaterHollywood.com, you are still able to buy tickets at the box office in person. Even if all 20 of the chairs that we have, which came from Vidiots and the Magic Castle, are full,
They're pretty comfortable.
we're still able to pull in a couple of folding chairs to accommodate people who really want to see these movies.
Next up, you guys, we have Wednesday, the 30th of October at 2 p.m. We mentioned this last episode, and it's Tales from the Hood.
Jules picked this one, and I think it really fit the anthology theme that we've gone with throughout the month of October. I think it complements the Amicus movies really nicely. The fact that we're not showing the actual 1972 Amicus Tales from the Crypt, I think it's great that we're showing Tales from the Hood, because it's like you've probably seen the original Tales from the Crypt if you've seen any of the Amicus movies. So I loved that every Thursday of the month leading up to this last week of the month, you could go see anthologies you've never seen, and then you could discover Tales from the Hood on a Wednesday afternoon.
Okay, now the piece de resistance, the cherry on the top of my chocolate ice cream sundae that is October with lots of candy corn added in the mix. You have concocted in your cauldron Tales from the Archives, a spine tingling Halloween night triple feature. Obviously, on Thursday, the 31st of October, starts at 4 p.m. Matt, I know you can't give away the titles of these movies that you are going to be playing at this secret triple feature.
Yeah, it's a triple
The triple
feature.
feature. I know you can't give away the titles, but can you tell me a little bit more?
So, one thing that I know a lot of our regular audience members love, and members of the New Beverly audience love, are the mystery marathons that they do at the New Beverly, like their yearly Halloween marathon and some of the summer marathons they do. It's a staple at the New Beverly. Phil Blankenship does a great job curating them. And I love going to those marathons and trying to guess what movies they're going to play. And they always play these sort of off the wall movies that you'll never guess you're going to see. And I love how, like, if you're in line for one of those movies at the Bev, Phil or Jules or someone will come out and like ask you to take a guess what you think you're going to see. And I always just thought that would be so much fun to do here at the Video Archives if I was ever given the opportunity. And I'm really grateful that this one was able to happen, especially on Halloween Day. It's a great way to spend Halloween Day watching three movies that are very much themed to the holiday. And the other thing, again, reiterating what I said about Nightmare on Elm Street 5, I really like these experiences that are exclusively to VHS. And that doesn't mean these movies don't exist outside of VHS, but they found their life and their audience on VHS. They found their popularity on VHS. I think all three of these movies that we picked are classic VHS horror movies. And we're also going to dip into something here that we haven't done yet, but a lot of audience members and fans of the Cinema Club have been asking me about since day one, which is SOV movies, meaning shot on video, meaning low budget, sort of amateur filmmaker made VHS exclusive movies. I won't say what the titles are, and I won't say that they're all SOV, but I'm gonna have a bit of that in the mix.
Oh, we got a clue, you guys. It's time to start guessing.
So, yeah, I know that the people love these marathons, and it just felt like the perfect cap on the Thursday Amicus double features, which you have an anthology and then you have a standalone feature film. And we kind of made our own anthology out of three standalone feature films. That's another clue. They're not anthologies, they're individual stories that I have never seen play in a theater anywhere else. It's a rare screening. They're VHS classics. They're all perfect for the Halloween season. And I'm really curious to see if people are going to guess them. And I love that we got to do the EC Comics inspired comic cover on the calendar. And there might be a special surprise for attendees of this show if they really like EC Comics and they want something special to take home with them.
So, guys, this show is on Thursday, the 31st, Halloween, and it starts at 4 p.m. And of course, it's sold out. Matt, I have a question about this kind of standby line. What if people come and they just watch the first movie? Is there a standby line like continuously through the day for this?
We have admitted people to double features during the double feature just for the second half. In this case, it's a triple feature. So maybe somebody could get in when somebody leaves for just the third movie. This is actually the first triple feature we've ever done at the Video Archive Cinema Club. And I've tried really hard to make the pre-show for this one in particular a lot of fun with old Halloween TV commercials and Halloween safety videos and advertisements for Halloween cereal and all that kind of stuff to just really give you the flavor of the holiday and what it was like in the era where VHS was at its peak.
Okay, so what I'm hearing is there is hope for a standby line.
Definitely.
Even if you don't get into the first, you might get into the second and you might get into third. But I think that if you have a ticket, you should sit it out and watch all three.
You should sit it out. And again, if there is a special item associated with this triple feature, it will have all three secret movies represented on it, which means we can't give it out until the end.
And also, you guys, just remember there are delicious White Castle burgers and hot dogs and vegan hot dogs available at concessions. I, for one, like to eat a hot dog during a double or a triple. I get hungry.
Gala also recommends Sour Punch Strawberry Straws, which you can get at the Vista concession stand,
That's my snack of choice.
and the vegan chocolate loaf that you can get at Pam's.
Vegan chocolate loaf is really good.
Pam's is amazing. The staff is so nice, so kind. They make the best coffee in town. I love hanging out there. It's just a great place to like sit on your laptop and work and chit chat with everyone there. Amanda, Nava, Natalie, they're all so friendly. I just love spending time at Pam's Coffee. So if you come to the Vista and you come to the Video Archive Cinema Club for the first time, make sure and check them out. And you can bring your Pam's Coffee snacks and drinks into the theater with you.
That's amazing. And also, if you even can't make it to a movie, still check out Pam's because there's a cute little patio area out front to sit. And it's just like a great place just to even come in and look, especially if you're visiting Los Angeles. And that butterscotch coffee, by the way, that they serve there, it's like that kind of really sweet one. That's what Quentin drinks at home. So you're getting a little bit of like Quentin.
And you can get the special hand-dipped, iconic yellow Pam's Coffee mug that everyone loves so much that says a mug by Quentin Tarantino on the back of it.
Amazing. Okay, Matt, I'm sorry, but October is now over this episode.
What do I do?
Let's talk a little bit about November and the calendar and what's changing. First up, I kind of wanted to talk about the theme of the month because we had a really obvious theme in October of these anthology films and this through line. What is up with November?
So the overarching theme of November is to pay tribute to a lot of great actresses from the 1930s and 1940s that I think Quentin is a really big fan of, such as Sally Eilers and Florence Rice and Constance Cummings and Marlene Dietrich. And we're also going to have a special tribute at the end of the month to John Howard.
One thing I have to say about this calendar in particular is you guys are getting in a glimpse into Quentin's brain right now. When we do video archives, you guys might have noticed that there is a through line usually with movies. Like we'll do Star 80 and then we'll move on to something like Lipstick. Or maybe we have a connection with Straw Dogs and Sonny and Jed. And you kind of see how it's evolving where he's discovering things or he's interested in actors and repeats like we had Rod Steiger and George C. Scott last season. We're definitely doing that on season 2 of the podcast. But when you're coming to the Video Archives Cinema Club, you're getting a little bit of a different side of Quentin. And Quentin right now is really, really, really interested in these actresses. He's just fascinated with them. He's learning a bunch of history about them. He's watching all of their movies. And he decided that the perfect place to share that would be at the Cinema Club. And I just think that's a wonderful thing. I'm guessing a lot of these movies are kind of smaller known films for modern audiences.
They are, and it actually presented me with an interesting challenge in designing the physical calendar for November, where there was a lot of art that had to be restored and cleaned up. You know, it allows me to discover the movies as well.
So the theme of the month is not the only thing that's changing. The showtimes are as well. So Matt, why don't you walk us through kind of November and what the schedule's like?
So we're going back to our original schedule, which you may remember from April, and then again in June, which is a 5-day-a-week calendar, which is Tuesday and Wednesday, 2 p.m. matinees, and then Thursday, Friday, Saturday evening shows at 7 o'clock, and then Friday and Saturday midnights as well.
Awesome. There's even more movies that are going to be shown. I think we're going to get Quentin on later this month to shed a little more light on his insights into how he picked each movie and why he picked them. But I know I'm going to be able to give you some info on the next few flicks that we're going to be talking about because, I've seen these titles. These are old friends of mine. So let's start with Friday, the 1st of November at 7 p.m. We've got a double feature.
We have Narrow Margin from 1990 with Gene Hackman. And we have The Human Factor from 1975.
So you don't know this yet because the episode hasn't come out, but we got to say the human factor because the title does have quotes around the word human.
And you can also see these movies on 35mm next month at the New Beverly Cinema,
where it's always, always, always on film. But here at the Cinema Club, they are going to be shown on VHS.
On Glorious Original Video Archives VHS.
Which is exactly how Roger and Quentin watched them for the show. Matt and I are not going to be talking about Narrow Margin and The Human Factor on this episode because you can listen to these titles being discussed by Quentin and Roger on the Video Archives podcast, first episode. And I'm just going to give you guys a little bit of a spoiler. You're going to want to hear the Narrow Margin conversation. There are some huge revelations about a certain movie that the two of them worked on together.
And that's another Peter Hyams classic as well.
It is another Peter Hyams classic, so we're bringing back Peter Hyams for our first episode. The discussion on Narrow Margin is available wide wherever you get your podcasts, but The Human Factor is specifically featured on Patreon. So head on over to patreon.com/video archives in order to hear the conversation between Roger and Quentin on that. Let's move on now to Saturday the 2nd at 7 p.m.
Saturday, we have the Gould and Hyams double feature. Peter Hyams directed both of these movies, and they both star Elliott Gould. Busting and Capricorn 1. Busting stars Robert Blake and Elliott Gould as buddy cops, and that one we're actually going to be showing on 16mm film.
Oh, that's so exciting. You guys might remember that Quentin and Roger covered Busting on season 1, episode 13 of the Video Archives podcast. So if you want to hear their thoughts and opinions on the movie, make sure to take a listen to the episode. Even though Busting was covered on season 1, episode 13 of the Video Archives podcast, Capricorn 1 has not yet been covered, and I don't know if there are plans to. I know that Dad would love to because honestly, he loves that movie, and he used to show it to me when I was a kid, but I think this is going to be a really fun double feature. Okay, so Busting is on 16, but what about Capricorn 1?
That's going to be on an original Video Archives VHS tape.
Oh, that's so exciting.
So it's pretty cool that you're doing 2 Peter Hyams movies, 3 actually, this first week of November, because Peter Hyams was actually the thing that first introduced me to the Video Archives podcast, because I heard that The Relic, which is one of my favorite 1990s horror movies, directed by the great Peter Hyams, was being covered on a podcast, and I had to check it out. So thanks, Peter Hyams.
For anyone curious about hearing Quentin and Roger talk about The Relic, that is episode 3 of season 1, where they also talked about The Keep and my personal favorite movie of the season, Cafe Express. Okay, let's move on to Saturday the 2nd, a midnight showing.
We have a midnight showing of the 1974 film Julia on VHS, and I think this one you've also covered on the podcast, right?
We actually did cover Julia on the podcast, the same episode as Busting. It was paired along. The third movie was Little Darlings. Julia is a 1974 film directed by Siggy Rothemund, and if you want to hear Quentin and Roger talk about it, you should go ahead and listen. Because are you guys watching it on VHS?
Yes,
that
we are
big
watching
purple
it
box
on an original Video Archives VHS, which I gotta say, I love seeing the Video Archives stickers on VHS tape.
It's so fun.
The little foil stickers that are on the bottom of all the original tapes and the numbers of the tapes from the archives. It just like adds that special feeling of history. I think you and I both love how we can see how tapes have traveled over the years. And I just think that that's great that people can see those tapes in person on display when they come to the theater.
Yeah, that's one amazing thing is that when you walk through the door of the cinema club, there's a little like, I don't know, like a shrine to whatever movie's playing.
That's right. We always put up the VHS box, if we have it on VHS and it's not a 16 millimeter show, to sort of display to the audience members that are coming that day, along with any other lobby cards or ephemera or collectibles that we have that we're able to display. So it's a special experience.
Again, Julia will be playing Saturday the 2nd at midnight. So basically, if you wanted to, you could kind of have an episode 13 extravaganza. You could come for Saturday the 2nd at 7 p.m., watch Busting, and then get a little treat with Capricorn 1, and then stay for the midnight. Stay for Julia. Have a little fun in the Swiss Alps.
And that wraps up our first week of November and our last week of October.
I know, isn't that crazy? Tickets are always available at
VistaTheaterHollywood.com.
And if for some reason you don't see the showtimes yet, they're coming. They'll be there. And always follow the Instagram Video Archives Club for updates on what's playing. That's this week at the Video Archives Cinema Club. If you'd like to get your tickets, you can do so through the Vista's website,
VistaTheaterHollywood.com.
And as always, follow the Cinema Club on Instagram at
Video Archives Club
for updates on what movies are playing. As always, I'm Gala.
And I'm Matt.
And we will see you guys next week. This calendar episode was produced by the Video Archives podcast and hosted by Gala Avery and Matt Landsman. Additional audio editing by Craig McNeil. Find even more of Video Archives on our Patreon, patreon.com/videoarchives. Copyright 2024, all rights reserved.